So first things first, name and title.
Ryan Vanderwall, Village Administrator of Rothschild.
And
Jamie Gabert, Village Administrator for Weston.
all right, so I guess the obvious is what's bringing this on and why now? Because again, like Evan asked, this has been tried before, hasn't exactly come together. So why is the time right now?
Yeah, as discussed earlier, I think right now we have a really great group of individuals in all the communities that are a part of this, and it's finding that strategic, dynamic, optimistic approach to it, and you have the leaders in place that are wanting to make changes that are impactful for the officers in a really positive way. And so right now I think that's what you have, is you just have those leaders. Not to say that the leaders in the past were bad, I'm not saying that at all, but I think right now you just have a group of really strong, sound advocates for this, and you have two administrators that, you know, Jamie is newer, but we get along really well, and I'm excited to see how we can continue to work together.
And I know former Weston President Wally Sparks, before he left, and you know, even when this building was being planned, had said collaboration wherever possible is the way we have to go, because every community is trying to do more with less financially. Is that something that you would agree with right now?
You know, I can't speak for the past, and I certainly don't know that individual, but what I can speak for is I think right now, again, you have leaders in place that are finding innovative, futuristic ways to try to help progress the communities in a positive and impactful way.
Gotcha. So then the obvious, I guess maybe not obvious tie to this, but you know, the Everest Metro PD is going to be looking for a police chief right now. Is that something that kind of accelerated this process, because you're saying, well, if we're going to integrate the department, we just as well hold off on that until we get this completed?
I think really the holistic approach is, you know, the way Everest Metro PD is currently at with staff levels along with the Village of Rothschild, finding a way to create a unified approach between the departments and having one police chief, I think is going to be beneficial. And I do think part of that you will see a name change.
Mm-hmm. So a name change for the department?
Correct.
Okay. So that said, would say Rothschild's police chief then be somebody who would be considered for the Everest Metro or whatever the name change would be?
Yes,
Chief.
I think that is a high likelihood.
Okay. So on that side of things for Weston, you are going to hold off then on say posting the job or doing any sort of national search for a chief. Is that correct?
Yeah. Everest Metro PD, the Police Commission has made the decision to currently hold off on seeking candidates until further discussions between all entities can be had to see where it can lead to.
All right. So then, what are those? What's the roadmap for those discussions look like?
The timeline really is we want to see how far we can get in 2024. Again, that's why we're having Dan Virgin kind of run that intergovernmental study to see what's feasible. You know, do we have to do what kind of space are we looking at? That space right now, the thought is to have the building for a unified police department be housed at the Village of Rothschild alongside its current municipal building where the police department currently is. So there's a lot of different, I think, studies that still have to be completed yet, but we're at the early stages, and we just want to be transparent with the community so they see that, hey, there's some really impactful, positive things happening, and you have all the communities that are willing to work together, and I think it's just a great opportunity for everybody.
So I'm guessing then those studies will be anything from where's, as you mentioned, the best place to have a department head, where's the best place to have maybe satellite offices, to how many officers do you need in certain areas, right?
Somewhat. I do expect you're going to see only one building for this. I don't expect to see, at least on the get-go, any satellite offices for the four communities. But yes, it would entail a build-out for a facility, and again, likely attached to our current municipal building for the Village of Rothschild. And housing all officers there would be, I think, a really strong approach for success.
So then you said this is probably going to take most of the year yet, so any tangible action on it is probably a year or two out.
It really depends. I think it depends upon how fast the study can be had. Again, both officer departments or officer groups have been discussing this with Dan Vergine. So far, it's been overwhelmingly optimistic. Each officer certainly has their questions. Hey, how does this going to work? What is the squad car going to look like? What are our uniforms going to look like? But that's to be expected. But I think right now what you have is really healthy, positive approaches from the officers, leaders, and likewise where they're saying, okay, how can we make this work? You got excellent resources in both communities. How can we make this a stronger, unified front for everybody?
Then, anything else you'd like to add then before we let you go?
No, I would just say, I think I'm very excited to see what happens. I know I can speak for our village board, at least for Rothschild, we're excited to see where this goes. We're excited to work together with all the communities. Again, it's been super, super positive. I'm very thankful for that, and I look forward to working with Jamie.
Yeah, I would echo that. We'll always be neighbors, so we're stronger together.
Mm-hmm.